And we are live. Welcome back to GBS Beginner English. This is lesson 14 from our book, Speak Now 2. We're going to talk about things that I'd have to. We're going to talk about jobs and having some fun with those different jobs. Without further ado, let's get started and let's have some fun with jobs in our class today. So we're going to start off and look at some different jobs that are available. And yes, these are all jobs that are possible in life. You can get any one of these jobs that you want, and some of them you may need little or no experience to be able to get. Some you're going to need a lot of training. So the jobs that we have, many of them, we can pick them up, do them as we want. Some of these jobs, like a server or a cashier, don't require as much training as, say, a pilot or a doctor. Now, all of these jobs do require training. And so when you've got the right training, you can do just about anything that you want in life. Always, always. And here's one of the things that a friend of mine told me a long time ago: always keep improving yourself, because you never know when you're going to need your next skill, or when the skill that you're learning now will help you later in the future. We're going to try to get all of that in this. But here, let's look at these 9 jobs first. So we've got a chef. Chef is someone who usually works in a restaurant cooking food. A chef can be a professional cooker, somebody who's gone to school to learn how to cook well. But a chef doesn't necessarily have to do that. You can become a chef just because you have a good way of doing things. A doctor and a nurse, those are jobs that require a lot more training. Now, I happen to have some experience with nurses, not because I'm a nurse. I hate hospitals. But my father, my mother, both of my aunts, my uncle, and my brother are all nurses or were nurses. But they're not a job that I would like to do. I don't want to work in a hospital. I worked as a waiter for many years, as a server. Now, you can have a real waiter that serves on tables, or just somebody who brings the food and stuff to your table. Flight attendants and pilots, both of them have to go through extensive training. I know a lot of you who are in the tourism management department are interested in becoming flight attendants. Flight attendants do require a lot of special training, especially in the physical aspect. They want you to be physically fit and strong to be able to deal with everything that's happening in the airplane. Pop singer. Here in Korea, a lot of people enjoy going to the noraebang and singing a lot. And so it doesn't require a lot of education to be a pop singer. You just have to have the talent. And some people have more talent than others. Good luck to you, because I have no talent when it comes to singing. Firefighters, police officers, they also require more training. Especially firefighters require a lot more physical training so that they can deal with the dangers of a firefighter. So whatever job you want to do, be sure, take a moment, write down the list of jobs that you are interested in, because those are the jobs that you may end up with for the rest of your life. All right, now we're going to listen to a conversation between Katie and Raul, and they're going to be talking about what they might want to do as far as it comes to a job or a career. And without further things, we're going to talk about how they may be able to do that job in a different way. So let's listen to that conversation.
I want to start my own business after I graduate.
Really?
I just need to have some money to get started, and I need to have a fresh idea.
Do you have any ideas?
I'd like to sell healthy lunches to people in offices, things like sandwiches and salads.
Do you think it would be difficult to get started?
Well, I would need a good kitchen, but I wouldn't have to have a car. I could use a bicycle.
Good idea.
Say, I'm looking for a business partner. Are you interested?
Now, it may be surprising, but it's possible to start a job all on your own here while you're still in college. Now, what I'm doing with my videos, I'm working and doing stuff online. Now, My videos right now that you're watching, I'm not getting paid to do these videos except for teaching my classes. That's all that I'm doing. But I'm getting ready to start up my own secondary channel on YouTube. And hopefully that one will actually start getting me some income, even if it's just a small little bit. It's a chance to start, and it can start small. So if you have a good idea, if you have something special that you want to do, you could start your own business. One of my students many years ago, I do a business project usually in the spring with my GBS classes. Haven't done it for the last 2 years because of COVID-19. But in the business project, my students basically they start their own company and they have to sell something to the students on campus. And one of my students started her own business of nail art, and she actually became very successful with that. Not that she opened up her own nail art salon. She did nail art because she enjoyed doing it. So she advertised on campus, and she would go around to the different professors and she would do their nails for them while they were in their office hours. And she didn't charge much money. It was mostly she was going and having fun, and then whatever the professor thought that her work was for, they gave them the tip, and she was actually making pretty good money. She was able to stop her part-time job and do the nail art full time. And this is something that, if possible, you can take what you do and what you enjoy and make it into your career, just like this lady wants to do. Katie wants to have her own restaurant, her own idea. But in this, Raul wants to possibly be her business partner. Now, she's looking for money to start a business. And that's unfortunately one of the things that you have to do before you can start your own company. You have to have a good financial starting egg, a nest egg, as they say, to start your company. Once you start it, you can make it grow. And don't don't eat your profits. Invest them back into your company for a while to make sure that your company is growing and that your company is always at its best. So let's move on and talking about expressing your interest and necessities. Things that we need and things that we want are important for our work, for our classes, and we may need to get something that we don't have. So what can you do? You might be able to go and do something for a little while, earn some money so that you can start doing what you really want. But don't put it off. If you put it off for too long, then you may just never be able to get back to it.
6 hours later.
And then 6 years later, then 6 decades later, and you may never get back to your idea. When you have an idea, use it. So I need to have a fresh idea. This is generally all that you need to make success. Have a fresh idea and a good business practice. It's hard to express what a good business practice is, but think about the places that you go to visit. Think about those restaurants or those shops, the ones that give you something special. I hate to say this, but a little hint of me. I'm very cheap. Fortunately, that's one of my good things and one of my bad things. So I usually, when I go to the store, I'm usually looking for things that are on sale or that I can get a good discount. One thing I really love about Korean supermarkets and convenience stores are the 1+1 or 2+1 specials that are available. Now, just a little insight on the 2+1 specials and 1+1 specials. They usually give that when they have too much supply, too much stock, or the stock is getting close to its sell by date. Now, it's not the expiration date, it's just the sell by date. But things, they want to get rid of them, so they'll offer a discount so they can sell it instead of having to trash it. But what you need Think about those items that you're going to need with a business. You don't need some things. Like she says, she doesn't need a car. She can use her bicycle and she can walk and do the things like that. Those are things that will be important for your business. All of you speak two languages. You could work as a translator. Translations become hard, especially as you're becoming a higher level translator, but you're already speaking a second language or possibly a third language. Practice that. The more that you can do it, the better you will be, not only for yourself and for the things that you can watch or do, but also because it's a job skill that will add to you. Now, another little helpful hint. I said never stop learning. Learn some skills that will be good for you and good for possible businesses. Learning how to be a translator, how to translate between languages, that's excellent. Becoming an expert at Photoshop or at Microsoft Word, Excel, these are skills. Once you learn them, you can keep increasing them, keep getting better at them, and these will help you.
No, no, no!
Yes, they will. They will help you a lot because as you go along, you will be able to use those skills for the rest of your life, even if it's only in your own personal life. I personally love to cook. If I've always told my wife that if we ever won the lottery, the first thing I would do after winning the lottery is I would go to cooking school. Not because I want to open my own restaurant. I probably could, but I don't want to open my own restaurant. I would want to go to cooking school so that I can make food better for my wife and myself. But this is the future, and hopefully I'll be able to scratch that off my bucket list one day. But we move on. Now, we're going to listen to three different people. They're going to be at a jobs fair or a career day and describing what their job is like and what they need to do their job. So listen to them and check what they have. Then write one thing that's wrong about that person's job. It could be something small, but it could be something very, very important. So listen and find out what these jobs require and what these jobs don't, what are not good about these jobs.
First, I want to thank your teacher, Mrs. Perez, for letting me talk to you today about being a model. Now, there are different types of models. For example, there are fashion models and print models. For any type of modeling, you need to have clear skin and healthy hair. You have to look healthy. But you don't have to be thin to be a successful model. If we only think of fashion modeling, yes, it's important. But there are many models that we consider plus size, and these models are more typical of the average person. Finally, you don't have to have a college degree, but I encourage you all to get a degree. A model's career can be short, and you will want to have another set of skills to fall back on.
Hi, everyone. I am a concierge. I work at a hotel and I help guests. I make travel arrangements, give advice on local restaurants, deliver messages, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in a career as a concierge, what skills do you need to have? Well, you need to be friendly. No one wants to talk to an unfriendly concierge. Also, you have to know the area around the hotel or the city. A concierge often gives directions. You don't usually have to work late at night. That's another thing I like about the job, the hours. We mostly work during the day. That's when our guests need us most. Finally, you will notice I am wearing a uniform. You have to wear a uniform, of course. So if you don't want to wear a uniform at your job, this isn't the job for you.
Hello. From what I am wearing, can anyone guess what my job is? No? Well, I'm an architect. There are a lot of things that are necessary if you want to be an architect. We design buildings, so many people think we don't need to know about interior design. Not true. We do. And another thing we need to be good at is math. So if you want to be an architect, keep taking those algebra and geometry classes. You also have to be able to work on a team. We work with all kinds of people. Some think architects spend all their time alone, and again, this is not true. That's what I like about my job, working with others. Now, an architect needs a lot of education. And yes, you need a license. It's necessary since architects have to design safe buildings for people to live and work in.
Wait. I'm sorry if I missed what I was doing. Okay, so what you need to do is those three jobs, a model, a concierge, and an architect. Now, any of you who are in hotel restaurant management, concierge is a job that could potentially be in your future. And one of the benefits of being a concierge is that it's a very high prestige job. But as the guy said, you have to know the area around where your hotel is. But you also have to have the skills and the personality to go with it. You must always be friendly, um, kind, and think about anytime you go to a hotel, the concierge should be very knowledgeable. This is where if you learn more languages, if you're going to be in the hotel industry, learn as many languages as you can. You don't have to be completely fluent in the language. You don't have to be able to read, write, and be 100% literate in the language. But the more languages that you can communicate with your clients, the better. Even if it's, I speak Japanese, but you have to speak it a little slowly so that I can understand it. I speak a little bit of Korean, I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I also understand sign language, which are skills that help me. But what you can learn, you can also use. And it doesn't matter which job you use. You can use it as an architect or as a model. They can both help you learn those skills that are going to help you get and keep the job of your dreams. Now we move on and listen to about a comic store, an internet cafe. What kind of job would you really find the most enjoying? Here we have a bookshop, and a bookstore can be a great place. If you have a good eye at what books are going to sell and what books are going to be there, it can be great. One of my friends is actually a bookstore owner down in Onyang, and she and her family have owned that bookstore for many, many years. And it's a job that she and her husband have been running successfully for a while. So this is something that if you want to do it, if it's something that you're passionate about, then do it. But make sure that it's something that you want to do. Don't try starting a job that you're not going to be happy with. All right, now we're going to move on and get to everybody's favorite. Yes, we got to get to everybody's favorite part. I know. Everybody's favorite part, the workbook. So we're going to go on and talk about the workbook for today. First part, read the conversation and put in your part. What are they talking about? So number one says, you'd need to go to college for over 10 years and you'd have to be good at science. So what would be a job where you'd have to go to college for 10 years? Now it's 4 years for a bachelor's degree and then another 6 years on top of that. And it's usually involved in science. My guess is this is probably going to be a doctor. So go back to the vocabulary from the first part and see if you can match it to which jobs they're describing. Now, there are several questions to go through. There's 2 sections here. Let's go through 9 different jobs. Try to match them to those vocabulary that we talked about earlier in this video. Then, for which jobs in part 1 do you think you would need to have a license to do? You'd be surprised how many of them you actually need a license for. Teaching is one of those jobs you need a teacher's license to actually teach effectively. And there's some things that you need more license for. You don't need a license for everything, but the more skills, the more things that you can put on your resume. I have this skill. I have this license. I have this, the better. I happen to have my forklift driver's license, crane operator's license. I have several licenses, including a driver's license. These licenses, as a teacher, I don't need them, but I never know. You never know when you might need that. I still have those licenses and certifications. I can go back and use them. I also have my diver's license, driver and diver, my scuba diver's license. I've had my scuba diver's license almost as long as I've had my driver's license, since I was in high school, because I like scuba diving. I think it's a fun activity. Haven't been in a long time, and I probably have to go through a refresher course, but I have the skills and I am certified. So you can do these things, and later in life, you never know when you might come back and need one of those skills. Now, we're going to look at, are you looking for a job? Now, we're going to be doing in class, we're going to be doing job interviews coming up, not this week, but after the midterm test, we're going to do mock job interviews. And in the mock job interviews, you're going to be advertising for a job and trying to get people to hire, and you're going to try to hire the people in the class. So let's look at some of these things that they might be doing when they're doing advertising. Are you looking for a great job? Big Katie's Catering is looking for great workers. We need delivery people, chefs, and servers. Delivery people need to have a driver's license and their own car or have a bicycle. They do not need to have experience, but it is preferred. They need to know the area. Chefs need at least 2 years of experience in a professional kitchen. They also need 3 references. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Servers also need experience, but only 6 months. They have to be friendly and will be able to work on a team. We offer between $10 and $20 an hour for a very friendly atmosphere. If you're interested, come see us at both our booth at the career fair on 315 or call 210-999-3050 and ask for Big Katie. Okay, now let's look at this. There's a couple things I want to make sure that you understand about this job posting. First, references. References are something that you will need when you start looking for a job. You're going to need someone who knows you to offer you a reference. Now, a reference can be a professional reference, which is great. You can have a personal reference, which is usually somebody who knows you well, or you can have a reference from someone in your community. And the best references are those that are professional, especially as you're trying to get into a professional job. So those activities that you're doing on campus, your club groups, your political groups, those are things that you can put on your resume later on. Make sure you get a reference letter. Now, as you get a reference letter from that person, that's great, but also ask people if they will be your reference. You'll be surprised. Some people will say, no, please don't put me down as a reference. But other people will say, yeah, sure, I'll refer to you. But before you get that person as a reference, make sure they're going to be able to give you a good reference. You don't want to have someone give you a bad reference. So be careful who you choose. The next part I want to make sure to highlight is experience. Now, experience comes with every chance that you work. Now, this one says a chef that has 2 years of experience and a server who has 6 months of experience. It's very difficult to get experience until you actually get the job. Some jobs want you to have the experience before they get you in. And there are some places out there that say, no, we don't want you to have experience because we don't want you to bring in bad habits to your job here. We want to teach you everything about your job. So look for those things that you need. How can you get experience? Well, all of you have to do volunteer work at one point or another in your career and in your time in college. So here's the thing. Pick a job that you're interested in. Go find some place that you can do volunteer work in that profession or in that area. For example, if you're interested in becoming a doctor, one of the greatest places you can go and volunteer, go volunteer at a hospital. They need lots of people to help them check people coming in with COVID-19 and check for temperatures and stuff like that. It's not ready for you to become a doctor, but you're getting to know what the hospital is like. You're going to get to know some of the things that happen there. And that is experience. Maybe not experience doing the job you want yet, but it's a good place to start. It's what's called a stepping stone job or a stepping stone volunteer work. Go find volunteer work. I have to do volunteer work. Well, go do volunteer work. It's going to help you get a job. Find a career, find the way to get experience. All right, now off to the last section. Let's see, what job do you think would be the best? Each of you will have your own different definition of what makes a great job and what are the requirements of this job. Be sure to write down your information for this because, as I said, we are going to be holding job interviews sometime here in the future in class where you're going to be looking for employees for your company. So we're going to find out what you can do. Now, the flyer in part one has a way of getting people's interest in the jobs. Which of those 3 jobs would you be most interested in? And what kind of company do you think it is? Write your answers down, but please don't forget it says share your ideas with a group. Talk about it with the people in class. When you come into class, pull out your book, talk about your homework to somebody else in the class. Use the class time to talk about your ideas. Who has a creative idea? If you can't talk to someone in class, that's fine. Talk to your mom, talk to your dad, your dog, your cat. Talk to your neighbor, your brother, your sister. Talk to the television. Send me an email, talk to me. I will talk to you about your ideas. Get someone to talk to you about your ideas, but don't leave part 3 blank. Because I've been grading all your homework. If you leave part 3 blank, you're already losing points. So put something down there. Even if it is, hey, I talked to my mom and my mom said this. All right, so today we talked a little bit about jobs and about different kinds of jobs that are available for you. We've also talked about interviews and some of the things that are important in an advertisement and interview. So without much else, we're going to say goodbye for now. I will see you all in class very soon. Bye.